So, you've got this killer app idea. You're convinced it could be the next big thing. But how in the world do you get from that spark of an idea to actually making your first dollar? Well, today we are laying out the entire blueprint for you, the aspiring app builder of 2025. Let's dive right in.
But first, we got to talk about the cost. Because, let's be real, it's a big deal. Industry data shows that a complex app, one with all the bells and whistles, can run you up to a whopping $300,000 to develop. And for most people, that number feels like hitting a brick wall. Yeah, when you see a number like that, it's super easy to feel like the dream is dead before you even start. You're probably asking yourself, is the golden age of apps just over for people like me? And the answer is a huge, resounding no. But the way you get there has definitely changed. And that right there is what we call the appreneur's dilemma. It's this constant battle, right? You're facing these insane costs and technical headaches in a market that is more crowded than it has ever been. It's something every single founder has to figure out. And it's not just about that initial cost. You're also juggling complicated back-end stuff, trying to manage user data securely, and just screaming to be noticed in a sea of other apps. And just to give you an idea of the scale we're talking about, spending on AI alone is projected to explode past $300 billion by 2026. That's how intense the tech world is getting.
So, you see the problem. But look, this isn't about giving up. It's about getting smart. The real game changer here is what we call the modern dev stack. It's a whole new set of tools that carves out a brand new path forward for people just like you.
And here's the absolute best part. A whole new ecosystem of amazing tools has popped up. They're designed to work together seamlessly, and they have completely changed the game, making it so much easier and more affordable to build and launch an app that actually makes money.
Okay, so what is this magic stack we're talking about? It's a really popular combination that just works beautifully. You've got Next.js for your website, Expo for your mobile app, Supabase to handle the backend, Stripe for all your payments, and PostHog to figure out what your users are doing. Seriously, think of these 5 as your new dream team.
Now, a really key idea here is something called BaaS, which stands for Backend as a Service. A tool like Supabase is the perfect example. Instead of you spending months trying to build databases and user logins from scratch, a BaaS does all that heavy lifting for you. This is a total game changer. It slashes your development time and your costs.
All right, we've got our tools. Now it's time for the fun part, actually building something. This section is all about that hands-on journey, taking a raw idea and turning it into what we call an MVP, or a minimum viable product. That's the simplest possible version of your app that solves one real problem.
I absolutely love this quote. It sounds a little harsh, but for a first-time founder, there's some serious wisdom here. Instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, the smarter, less risky play is to find an idea that's already working, something people already use, and just do it better. Make it faster, easier to use, or cheaper. So let's pretend we're building an app called Community Connect. The problem it's solving is super simple. Communication in groups like schools or neighborhoods is always a total mess. So the MVP doesn't need a million features. It just needs the bare essentials. A welcome page, a simple bulletin board, a form so people can post stuff, a way for an admin to manage it, and a basic login. That's it.
Okay, your MVP is built. Awesome. But now, how do you actually make money from it? This is the moment of truth. Let's talk about how to turn this thing into a real business. So you've basically got 3 main ways to go. You can make it a paid app, but that can scare people off before they even try it. Freemium is great for getting lots of users, but figuring out what to give away for free versus what to charge for, that's really tricky. For our little Community Connect app, subscriptions are probably the way to go. Why? Because you get that predictable, steady income from your most dedicated users.
And I know what you're thinking. Setting up subscriptions sounds like a total nightmare, right? Well, a service like Stripe makes it so much easier than you'd think. You basically just create an account, define your product in their dashboard, set your price, and then they give you what you need to connect it to your app. Something that used to take a whole team of engineers months to build, you can now get it done yourself. It's incredible.
All right, the app is built. You've got a way to get paid. Now what? You've got to get it out there, in front of real people. You have to market it, and you have to use data to constantly make it better. This is the final phase.
Look, if you really want to grow, you can't just guess what users are doing. You need to know. That's where something called a user funnel is absolutely crucial.
With a tool like PostHog, you can map out every single step a person takes, from the second they land on your page to the moment they log in. It gives you a crystal clear picture of their journey.
And boom! This is where the magic happens. The funnel tells you a story. You can see exactly where people are giving up. In this example, wow, a ton of people click sign up, but never actually submit the form. Why? Is the form too long? Is there a bug? See? No more guesswork. We know exactly where the leak is, so we can go plug that hole.
When you're just starting out and don't have a huge marketing budget, social media is going to be your absolute best friend. But you can't just post the same thing everywhere. On TikTok, it's all about being casual, funny, and jumping on trends. On Instagram Reels, you want to be a bit more polished, with beautiful visuals and a clear download now message. They're both incredible tools, but you gotta remember, they speak totally different languages. Okay, so let's say things are going well. You're growing. All of a sudden, you have a new problem to think about: protecting your idea, your brand. And while that sounds scary and expensive, the good news is you don't have to immediately lawyer up and spend a fortune. There are organizations like the World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO, that offer ways to settle disputes without a crazy court battle. It's just a really smart thing to have in your back pocket as you grow.
And finally, we have to talk about the biggest change happening in development right now: AI. But wait, I'm not talking about adding a fancy AI chatbot to your app. I'm talking about using AI to help you build the app itself. It's a huge difference.
These new AI coding tools, they're not just novelties anymore. They're becoming essential. They do all the boring stuff for you, like writing basic code, creating documentation, and even finding bugs and telling you how to fix them in real time. What this does is it just obliterates all that repetitive grunt work so you can focus on the creative, fun, problem-solving parts of building your app.
But of course, this incredible AI power doesn't come from nowhere. The money being poured into these AI systems is staggering, and it's growing like crazy, projected to literally double to over $300 billion by 2026. That's insane. It's the engine powering all these amazing new tools, and it's why building smart is more important than ever.
This quote from Amit Shukla really just nails the main point of all this. The tech, the marketing, the AI, at the end of the day, they are all just tools. Your success comes down to one thing: making sure your business model actually fits what your users want and need. That's the secret sauce.
So look, the walls have come down. The tools are cheaper and more powerful than they have ever been. The roadmap is right here. It's clearer than ever before, and the opportunity is absolutely massive. The only question left is, what are you going to build?